Tonight, from the high-bank concrete half-mile monster that's called Bristol Motor Speedway, it's race number 17 of the 2006 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and it's live right here on Speed.
As the sun sets in eastern Tennessee, the lights come on. Welcome the world's fastest half-mile, Bristol Motor Speedway. Tonight, the Craftsman Truck Series lights up the night.
Crowds screaming, superstars were bound to show the battle scars. I've been the first to sign on every wall. We'll see you at the show.
About that pass now. As he entered the outside lane, Skinner down low.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, live from Bristol.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman.
There have been 8 previous races here at Thunder Valley with 7 different winners. And so far, only Ron Hornaday has multiple Bristol trophies. Hello, everyone. I'm Ray Dunlap, and welcome to the Craftsman pre-race show. You know, when you come to Bristol Motor Speedway, you have to kind of expect the unexpected. A lot of times when you come in here, you know that there are going to be drivers that have some hurt feelings. We know there's also a possibility that the championship chase could be profoundly affected. You know, I think they ought to change the name of this race to the Hurt Feelings 200. Well, so far today, things have been actually pretty calm down in the garage area. And tonight, I'll be sharing the duties on pit road with a couple of my compadres. Chris Devoda and Bob Dillner are here tonight, and let's find out what's been going on down trackside. We'll start with Krista.
Well, Ray, the news actually started earlier this week. Ted Musgrave, our driver who is 4th in points, has a new crew chief. Tom Ackerman is now out, no longer with the Germain team. Now, he's still in the series. He is now working with the number 75 with crew chief Dave McCarty and driver Eric Almirola. So who is now calling the shots for our defending champ? That job now belongs to Rick Gay. Rick is very familiar with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's worked in this series with Terry Cook, most recently working with John Andretti in the Busch Series for PPC Racing. We've got a big night, too. Mark Martin is back in the series tonight. Kyle Busch is back. We're going to talk to both of those drivers coming up in just a bit. But let's talk about the news that has really been big today. And for that, we go to Bob Dillner.
Well, Bristol can be like a grumpy old lady for some, and today that grumpy old lady ate up some race trucks here today. In practice, Eric Almirola, he swiped the wall, but he still qualified second. Veteran Mike Skinner and also Aaron Crocker also hit the wall. But in qualifying, the truck that was obliterated belonged to Terry Cook. He just got a little bit loose, is what he told me, and slammed the outside wall. Terry and that team had to go to a backup truck, and they will start at the rear of the field, Ray.
Well, and I'll tell you, Bob, with the way the trucks are all the way scattered through this field tonight, I can guarantee you we're going to have some pretty wild racing action here at Bristol. But I cannot guarantee you that it'll be quite as crazy as what we saw in our last race at Nashville.
These two Thunders are pretty well evenly matched. You know, Skinner's awful tough. We'll see if we can get this Lumber Liquidator's Thunder up front and get in victory lane.
You're going to have 2 laps to figure it all out here. We're getting ready for this restart.
Here comes Ty Bodine. Early on. Bodine's going to move him out of the way, and Skinner drops to second.
Green-white checker, I got inside him. Obviously, Spider didn't tell him.
And I bet Mike Skinner's not real happy. If he gets a chance to get back to the rear bumper of Tom Bodine, you'll see the same thing again.
I guess if you hadn't won a race and wasn't racing for points and everything, I guess you could wreck somebody to win the race.
Tom Bodine trying to hang on to the truck. Skinner trying to make the pass.
Off the racetrack.
They're both sideways. As they both go sideways, the field goes by them.
I just think Todd stepped over the line today. I mean, you don't. I wouldn't have wrecked him to win the race.
Skinner and Angie and myself and Janet are supposed to go on vacation in a couple of weeks. It ought to be real interesting.
Well, that last lap incident wrecked a lot more than just the results for those 2 drivers. When we left Nashville, the last thing you heard Tom Bodine say was, well, my family is supposed to go on vacation with the Skinners, so we have to know, is that vacation still on?
Yeah, we're still going to do it. We went out afterward and kissed and made up and hugged and told each other how stupid we were, and, you know, everything's good. You know, we've got too much, both of us, to lose. I got a championship, and he's got a great ride, and, of course, we're both in Tundras, and we got to keep that in mind. It's tough, you know, when you race your competitor, it's hard to be friends, and I've made a habit over the years of not being close friends with my competitors, and unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to say, Mike and myself have become friends, and you know, you have to get by it, you have to get over it. This is another race. Obviously, Bristol's a place that you don't want to hold grudges, so we're going out here tonight to race the racetrack and the rest of the competitors, and if we get racing each other, we'll race each other like we always do.
All right, Bob, they say they're close friends. What do you think?
Well, Chris, I don't want to know anything about kissing or hugging or anything between the two, but let's get Mike Skinner's opinion on the situation. Is it water under the bridge, Mike, or are there still some sour grapes over what happened?
About what happened?
2 weeks ago.
What happened 2 weeks ago?
Let's see, the 30 and the 5 got into it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I went golfing with the owner of the 30 the next day. We was really mad at each other. He didn't give me any strokes, but no, Todd and we're buddies, and you know, if you're friends, I don't have many friends that I really want to call friends, but if a little incident like what happened, some emotion there, broke that friendship up, then we wasn't very good friends to start with. But I don't think that's the case. We're all on the same race team. We're all Team Tundra, and Toyota doesn't want us to take each other out, and we don't want to do that anyway. It was just something happened in a split second. We reacted. 2 wrongs don't make a right. We're all good.
Ray, the question is, do you believe them?
Well, I don't know, Bob. It sounds like things are pretty rosy down there, but here at Bristol, a lot of times, it's payback time. We'll have to see if that happens here tonight. We're not sure. The pre-race is just getting underway. The clock is at 38:12. We've got lots more coming your way. The weather couldn't be nicer here at Bristol. Come right back after this.
Skinner and Bobby Hamilton will win the Easy Care 200.
Right there. Here we go again.
Contact. Moves him out of the way, and David Starr moves in front as they go down the backstretch. On the high side, Bobby Labonte. They hit again. It's Bobby Labonte and Ron Hornaday goes across the start finish line just inches in front of Bobby Labonte. Benson's going to slide out of port. Sprague's going to slide out of port. And Kyle Busch is going to win this race. Side by side for the lead. Bodine on the outside. Skinner on the inside.
He said he didn't know if he could do it on the outside, and he drove by him.
Todd Bodine trying to hang on to the truck. Skinner trying to make the pass.
Off the racetrack.
They're both sideways. As they both go sideways, the field goes by them. Johnny Benson is going to see the checkered flag.
You know, as a general rule, you never want to leave your seat until the checkered flag flies in a truck race. And in this week's Fastenal Flashback, we look at the 2003 race here at Bristol. It was another good example of that very rule. In the race, Kevin Harvick had the field covered. He led 124 laps, but coming to the white flag, he blew a right front tire, and Travis Kvapil went on to win that race. In that same year, Travis Kvapil won the championship by a mere 9 points. Almost hard to believe.
Well, how about these fans? It's time for our Aaron's Lucky Dog Dream Seat upgrade. They get to move from their seats to the suites. That's Aaron's bringing you the Lucky Dog Dream Seat upgrade.
And that dog is going to be tired before tonight's over, Phil. He's going to be giving away free passes all night long. The Lucky Dog Award will be won over and over tonight because of all the cautions we're going to see.
Well, now you mentioned that, but last year we only had 6 cautions. Is that amazing? In 200 laps, you can only have 6 cautions?
It is for here. It is for here, that's for sure.
You know, the only way that can really happen is it must have been 6 big ones, because
they were pretty big.
Generally, you have a lot of pushing and shoving here, and trucks tend to get away from these guys.
And all the drivers are talking about how hard these tires are, and they're really slipping and sliding a little bit. So most of the drivers and the teams expect a lot of caution flags.
Lights are out on the pace truck, meaning next time by they will get the green flag and will be underway. Again, 200 laps. It's 106.6 miles is the duration of this race.
And they can go about 85 miles on a tank of gas still. So that just goes to show you how close they are to making it the whole way. That's why we're hearing strategy about guys stopping on lap 30, lap 20, and being done with pitting for tonight.
You've got to have a good handling truck to be able to do that early, don't you, Michael?
Because they're going to root on you. You know, you've got to, if you're in the front, you better make sure you're fast or you'll get knocked out of the way. It's that simple. You can't take a 20th place truck, get gas early, and get out front and think you're going to stay there. It's a combination. Good pit strategy, good handling truck.
Mark Martin, Eric Almirola. going through the high banks of 3 and 4 right now at Bristol Motor Speedway. The pace truck is off the racing surface. It is now in the hands of Mark Martin. We're about to get underway with the O'Reilly 200 from Bristol Motor Speedway.
Heads-up move on Mike Skinner to jump to the inside. He's going to get a couple spots by doing that.
Eric's in jeopardy of losing a bunch of spots. He slipped up to the high side, can't get back down. Mark Martin leads.
Richardson at the back of the field.
There was a chain reaction when David Starr was trying to slow down to get to pit road. Robert Richardson made some contact with the truck in front of him.
There could be oil in that turn.
Again, that's Robert Richardson with the damage to the front. You see the smoke coming out. Now, Robert Richardson should pull on the inside of the racetrack. He could be dropping fluid on the track.
Well, he's got to be dropping fluid. I can't believe these trucks aren't getting sideways.
Drive hard. I hope that's not Robert Richardson's spotter telling him to keep going and drive hard. There he goes. Now he needs to go. He needs to stay out in front of Mark Martin.
Caution has come out, and we've only completed 3 laps of racing. We could have more than 6 cautions tonight in Bristol. This caution came out. What took place on the start?
You can see Skinner there in the 5 truck. Phil's going to put an arrow on him. He's in the 5 truck. When they say go, watch how close he gets to passing before the start-finish line. But he doesn't do it. He goes across the start-finish line and gains a spot after that. That's perfectly fine. Let's watch it from inside his truck. Watch this move, Phil.
Green.
Did you hear him playing with that gas pedal, making sure he didn't jump that start?
He timed it just perfectly.
Now, I'm going to show you the opposite of that. Someone that did exactly what they shouldn't have done. That's that truck right there, the 11. He's going to come to the green flag and watch, Phil. This is a rookie mistake. He starts passing guy. You can't pass before the start-finish line.
He's been around a long time. David Starr knows better than to pass somebody before you get to the start-finish line, but he really got a lucky break by getting the Aaron's lucky dog, and he's going to be back on the lead lap.
Well, Rowdy Bush has come to the pits. Is this a strategy play already, Phil?
Well, I don't think they can go 190-some laps here, Bob.
Absolutely not. It is not a strategy play here at Bristol. A right front flat tire. Kyle Busch came over the radio right after the green flag came out and said, guys, I think I got a tire going down. They caught a break here. He'll be able to go to the back of the pack, and it'll be a tough going from here on out. But at least he didn't get that flat tire during a green flag run, guys.
That's a good point. I think that these guys, if enough caution flags fall, you're going to see some crazy strategy here tonight because the tires are hard, like you mentioned, and they don't give up.
Brendan Gaughan, you see, he wiggles right there, then he gets completely loose off the corner sideways. Just may have ticked the outside wall, but a great save.
And
Mike
you know,
Skinner got by him.
If he's that loose, Phil, and that thing will come in for him, that usually pays dividends. If he's able to hang on to it on new tires a little bit loose, he won't go to pushing the front end. He'll be able to make moves back up through the field.
And he's able, looks like the 50 of David Reagan.
Reagan gets spun around. Our second caution of the day gets brought out.
Saw a little damage to the left rear corner of that 50 truck. We heard his spotter say that somebody got him from behind.
I believe it was the same situation we saw with Todd and Marcus, Phil. There was a gap in front of David Reagan, and the truck behind him just finally said, well, I'm in here a little bit.
Yeah, these drivers are not going to put up with that gap for long. We saw Todd working on the back bumper of Marcus Ambrose, and finally he got loose, and he got underneath them, and away they went.
A little bit of damage there on the back end of David Reagan. The 13, Kerry Earnhardt, earns the Aaron's lucky dog and will be able to grab a lap back, get back on the lead lap. Reason why we are under caution. The 50 of David Reagan has a little help, but gets spun around.
Two Davids collided.
And it wasn't with Goliath.
No. There you see the truck up ahead spinning.
In front of you, spin in front of you, spin in front of you.
And Rick, something really interesting.
Caution is on.
Something really went crazy during this caution, Phil. Half the field decided to pit. Their strategy is lap 30, like we talked about. We're done pitting. The other half of the field said, nah, it's too early. Be interesting to see which half's right.
Ray, whose strategy have you got?
Well, I've got Mark Martin's, and here's the deal. You know, when you're the leader, sometimes you're forced to make a decision, and he and Mike Beam talked about it. They thought it was definitely too early, but they said if we don't pit now, we'll be too far back there whenever we pit the next time. We got to do it. It was lap 28. They came in, put 4 tires on, no adjustments, just added fuel for that Scott's Ford. Krista?
Well, Johnny Benson's strategy was pretty much do what Mark does. They said if the 6 was coming in, so were they. Johnny said his truck is a little loose. To fix it, they went 1 round up on the track bar. They think they can go the distance. Bob?
Well, here's the deal. As we go green, Mike Skinner leads this field to this restart, and he wanted to come down pit road, guys, but there was some miscommunication between he and crew chief Jeff Hensley. In fact, they were talking on the radio when the pits were open, so they did want to come down pit road. Pretty interesting, boys.
Well, Mike Skinner was running second. All he had to do was follow Mark Martin. You know, he had
off of the banks.
I'd like to get inside that 5 truck when we go back green flag racing and listen to him work the pedals inside of that thing. You can just hear that gas on and off, and that tells you that he's trying to get that thing pointed the right direction in the center of the turn.
Really shouldn't use that much brake here at this racetrack. Probably a little bit more when he's in traffic than if he was just running by himself. But you're not going to run by yourself here much.
No, but you know his brakes got a little hot. You know he pitted, didn't pit, got him cooled down under the caution. Then he was in the front, Phil. Then he didn't have any brake problems because he was rolling into the corner.
Kerry Earnhardt again, the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, and so Lucky Earnhardt will get back on the lead lap once again.
Lucky number 13 gets the Aaron's Lucky Dog. Dog's getting tired. It's starting to work.
Third caution of the night. Let's take a look at how it happened.
Oh, Joey Miller got down on the inside of Ryan Moore and got sideways, Phil. That's easy to do. You chop down into these corners, you catch the apron, you're going to get a little sideways, and fortunately for Joey, Ryan was there.
Yeah, and Ryan did a good job keeping that truck out of the outside wall, too. Listen to this.
Stay in front of me, cautions out, stay in front of me, go low.
Good job on Mike Swaim right there, telling Mike Skinner exactly what he needed to know.
Did you hear Mike go down to 3rd gear?
Yeah.
Maybe he does have a brake problem. Instead of trying to stop the truck, he threw it in 3rd. Krista, what's going on?
The 18 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. has brought his truck down. A lot of tension down here. They were looking for a good pit stop because they know this could be their chance to score their first top 5. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is the highest in points without a top 5. He's been complaining that his truck is just a little bit free. They tightened it up just a touch, put on 4 tires, and they are down and away. Bob.
Krista, it will be a 4-tire stop for Mike Skinner. That truck wants to spin out going into the corner, so a track bar adjustment. Ray?
For the number 14 of Rick Crawford, he was just a tick tight, and they decided to go down 1 pound of air on all 4 tires, and they put around a wedge in the left rear. The crew goes to work on this left side. We see the 16 of Mike Bliss is going by, a couple other trucks here, so Crawford will go back to the racetrack, but he'll lose a couple of spots from the guys that he pitted with.
Yeah, Krista, that's Marcus Ambrose in that 20, getting up in turn number 2, up into the wall, actually, bringing out our 4th caution.
He came right down pit road. That will cost him a lap. If he would have stayed out on the racetrack, he was in front of Mark Martin. But you see him now. He's racing down pit road trying to get ahead of Mark Martin, and NASCAR probably won't like that.
No, you can't speed to save a lap on pit road, and that's exactly what he did.
Short track racing for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, bumping and banging at Bristol. As they go down the stretch.
What a save by Terry Cook.
He saved that thing with his foot flat on the floor. He never let off. Spinning the tires and straightening the steering wheel. Watch this, Phil.
Take another look.
Unbelievable save by Terry Cook. We saw Brendan Gaughan make a nice save earlier. Watch him now. He's on the out. Bobby East gets a little bit sideways. Matt Crafton might have helped the 10 of Terry Cook a little bit. Got completely sideways, and then he stays off the 21.
People have to remember, they're going about 130 miles an hour around this half-mile super short track.
Super short track.
There's a 33 of Hornaday around. We'll come back to that story.
Ron Hornaday's able to keep going, so we stay green. Ray, go ahead.
Wow, how about that? Action all over this racetrack. And you know, part of it was about Mark Martin. I wanted to tell you about, you know, he pitted at lap 28, and the out caution is now out now. But, you know, you guys were talking about the two differing strategies of coming in on lap 28 or 66. Well, I want to give a shout out real quick to Bobby Hudson, who is the spotter for Mark Martin. You know, whenever you're back there in the middle of the pack, you've got to really work your way through traffic. And Bobby Hudson up at the top did a good job of helping Mark know which of the guys had tires, which didn't, who are the good guys in this series, because Mark has only run a few races with us. He doesn't know everybody yet. So the spotter, very important here at Bristol. He helped Mark get through that heavy traffic.
Mark Martin's got a little talent behind the wheel, too, to be able to negotiate that.
There's Aaron Crocker right there. She is the reason for our most recent caution flag.
Watch this.
Ron Hornaday. This did not cause a caution. Ron just got loose getting in the corner. Ted Musgrave, the 9, did a great job getting by him, but Ron actually saved that truck.
You just don't see that. Ron just lost that truck. That tells you how on the edge these guys are, Phil. Every lap is like a driving exam just to survive at Bristol.
Watch this, Michael.
Watch him. He just hooks it in there and the thing spins out on him. Well, it almost spun out on him.
Yeah. Great save. Bob.
Well, Aaron Crocker is on pit road, and she has had a pretty difficult day. She said she hit right here with the right front very, very hard, but that's not the first time she hit with the right front today. In fact, Jason Keller actually warmed up that truck and gave her a feel for it, set up that truck a little bit earlier today, but trouble for Aaron Crocker as she continues to adjust to these short tracks in that heavy race car.
Aaron Crocker being scored 4 laps down. This one, a lot of damage to the back of that truck as well. Bumping and banging continues from Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee.
2 trucks, another completely sideways situation, and he saves that one.
And that was actually the 08. Chad McCumbee throwing the sparks. We're on board with Bobby Hamilton Jr. He got into the back of the 15 of Rowdy Bush.
Well, the 15 decided he was going to come over, and Bobby Jr. said, I don't think you are.
I tell you, we've seen some great saves, though. 2 by Ron Hornaday. Brendan Gaughan made a terrific save early on. Terry Cook, an amazing save here. Some great driving out here.
On board with Bobby Hamilton Jr. as he looks at the tail end of that new Sherwin-Williams 77 Dodge. Keselowski in the 63 bringing out our 6th caution of the night.
You better be glad that wall wasn't about 3 feet longer, Phil. Watch how close he comes hitting the inside wall.
And you usually hit that inside wall pretty hard. He just gets by the inside wall. A lot of damage to the left side of that truck. There's another. Goat got a good shot here from pit road. Just missing that inside wall. Good job, Goat.
A little bit of damage on the inside of that truck, though. And
getting a report that Rowdy Bush, Kyle Busch, is going to make his way down pit road. And there he is right there. He's going to give up a top 15 spot to come down pit road, Bob.
And this is the reason why that truck is running very hot right now. In fact, Kyle Busch just radioed in and said the temperature gauge had reached 260. So they figure they come down pit road, check things out, take some tape off that grill, and make a 4-tire stop. That truck was not good at all. In fact, it was very, very tight, so they made a track bar adjustment. He's out and away, but that truck running very hot in this racetrack.
This will be fun.
But we saw the Best Buy guys pitting that truck, too. Hope Ron Hornaday comes in for service.
Well, that's because he's spun about spun out on those tires 3 times now. He wants to get some better ones. Maybe he needs some more grip.
Dennis Setzer also made his way down pit road.
Got a new sponsor on that truck for Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, great to see that truck. It's basically been without a sponsor all year. Has AES HR Solutions on it. Good to see him. Supposed to be with them all the rest of this year and next year.
Yep. Always good to see new sponsors coming into the best racing in NASCAR. They're the greatest fans right there. We're at Bristol Motor Speedway, O'Reilly Auto Parts 200.
This is Skinner right here, right behind the 11 of David Starr.
You know what I said earlier, every lap's like a driving test? Listen to Skinner try to work this track. Listen. He can't get the gas down until he's almost going straight. That just shows you how challenging it is to run around here by yourself.
And he's staying right with this 11 truck of David Starr. He's running well on the racetrack, and that's how tough it is to run Bristol.
How do you feel like you have a tire running down and you still run this well?
You're pushing. The thing just, like I said, you're turning the wheels to the left and the thing wants to go straight up the hill. It's very, very easy. Here comes the 15 around the 22 as he marches back toward the front. It's very easy to drive a truck that's loose here because you do what Skinner did. You drive it with your gas. If one's pushing, you can't really do anything.
Chad McCumbee turned around.
Cut his left rear tire down, Rick. That's why that truck spun out. When he drives away here, you can see when the two trucks made contact, it blew out his left rear tire. He couldn't hold on to it.
Probably pulled the valve stem right out of that truck. There it is right there, completely down on the wheel. Did a good job not getting any more damaged with the outside wall.
Now he's trying to pass back up to not lose a lap. I don't think you can do that.
Can't do that either.
The GPS store, Chevrolet of Chad McCumbee, will have to come down and have service done on his truck.
And the GPS has him trying to pass the caution car. You can't do that.
Let's take another look right here. He got hung in behind the 10 of Terry Cook, and the 85 of Dennis Setzer drove right up beside him and just ripped the valve stem right out of his left rear tire.
All over the back end of Terry Cook, and while he's doing that, Dennis Setzer went down almost on the apron to make that pass.
Bobby East did a great job getting his truck stopped. That's the 21 right there of Bobby East. Got his truck stopped to avoid contact with the 08.
Bob.
All right, boys, Mike Skinner's crew chief is Jeff Hensley, and he and Mike were talking during the last caution period and saying, hey, guys, we might have really screwed up when we were talking on the radio earlier. Taking a look at Jeff Hensley right now going in the cockpit with Mike Skinner, but those guys really think that they made a mistake not coming down pit road when everybody else did. In fact, Mike Skinner came on the radio and said, boys, and this is a great word for it, guys, we're trapped.
Sammy Sanders in the 04 for this race receives the Aaron's Lucky Dog, and so he will get a lap back. There's only one lap down now.
He's got a bunch of trucks on the inside of him, Phil.
He may have a left rear tire flat. See him wiggling there.
Oh, had one on the inside of him.
Yeah, there's David Reagan. They make contact right there. That's just how we saw that left rear tire of Chad McCumbie's go down.
I think we've seen the 10 of Terry Cook sideways more than we've seen him pointed forward.
He's had a rough night. It just seems to get on you at Bristol, doesn't it?
It really does. There's no place to hide here. If it's not your night, you know, you just can't get out of the way here.
Another guy who got a little bit sideways, the 77 of Brendan Gaughan, that Sherwin-Williams sponsor on board.
Rudeman was chopping him down because Brendan tried to force his way in there, and Brendan came up on the short end of that stick.
Ray, what's going on with Brendan?
Well, guys, he has been really frustrated because every time we go to a restart, he loses a spot or two to somebody on the racetrack, and it's because he makes the wrong choice, high, low, whatever. And he's just been frustrated as a driver because he knows his truck is fast, but he's just making some wrong decisions, high, low, whatever. And that time didn't work out too good either.
No, he definitely got a little over-aggressive getting into that corner. He didn't have the line on Rudeman, and he tried to take it anyway, and it wound up costing him instead of Rudeman. So he pretty much got...
Hiddleston in the 07.
Yeah, while we were away, the 9 of Ted Musgrave got by the 23 of Johnny Benson for the third spot.
We had mentioned earlier how Ted thought he had a better truck than Todd Bodine, but didn't want to challenge him because he knows Todd is racing for the championship.
Look at the Toyotas right there. Again, we've got a Ford of Mark Martin out front, and then 5 Toyotas, 2nd through 6th.
You know, you get to Bristol Motor Speedway, it's not about aerodynamics, and it's
problems with Jack Sprague up into the wall hard.
Caution flag is out.
This is our 8th caution of the night.
Well, that truck just took off and hit the outside wall there.
That's significant damage too, Phil.
Yeah, he's got a flat right front tire. I'm not sure if that's what caused that. More than likely, that's what caused that.
But you could also see the right front tire is askew. It's towed out, so he's got some work to do to that Toyota.
He was running up in the top 5. He's already up in the wall right there. That truck turned hard right as they got down in the middle of 1 and 2.
So the caution lights coming on almost immediately.
There it goes. He went hard to the right.
It never turned. That truck wound up a lot narrower than it was before he hit that wall.
There's another view. He's right in the center of the corner there, and the truck just took off on him. That's Kyle Busch's onboard right there.
Was that coming out of turn number 2?
Yeah, and
that's very reminiscent of I think a time you came out of turn number 2 one time and
I
went a little bit higher in the wall.
I didn't successfully negotiate that turn one day.
Significant damage to that. Aaron's lucky dog goes to Kerry Earnhardt once again. That's number 3.
Woo.
Except a lot worse conditions after you hit the wall.
Yeah, I think the wall is safer now because of my day back in 1990 when I got a little bit high and caught a bump from another car.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a miracle you're standing next to us.
That's still, to this day, one of the most unbelievable accidents that I have ever seen.
Look, let's see who runs in here. Can you see what happens?
There you are right there.
There's the green britches.
Look at your hairdo, Phil.
Bill Parsons right there, checking on Mike. My buddy.
Yeah, awfully glad that you were okay there.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
Sure was.
And now we have the safer barriers.
I know it, and I'm glad.
You wish you would have had them a little earlier.
Well, it didn't really hurt.
Here we go. The field in the hands of Mark Martin once again. We've had tire problems from some of the other drivers that pitted on the same pit cycle that Mark Martin did. Could he have problems as we're closing in on 10 laps to go?
We saw the 60 truck of Jack Sprague cut down the right front tire. The 77 of Brendan Gaughan made a pit stop on this most recent concert fight with the flat right front tire.
And you got to remember, the fastest cat has been Mark Martin. That means he's used that right front tire harder than anyone else. These next 10 laps will be tense for Mark, wondering if he can hold Todd Bodine off and wondering if his tires will hold up.
Ray, what happened with Jack?
Well, he had to come down pit road because they had a fender rub on that right front, and they had already given him the one to go. So Sprague was sitting here on pit road when we backed to green, so now he's down a lap and possibly 2.
Last time by, Mark Martin turned a lap of 16.431 seconds. He is picking up speed now as we close in on the final laps of this race.
There's a 15 of Kyle Busch trying to make his way back towards the front. There's a 16 of Mike Bliss. Got trouble
for Eric Almirola.
Wow.
He spins in turn number 1.
Big crash down the front straightaway, Rick. He didn't miss the end of that inside wall like we saw. The
Brad
Keselowski truck missed it earlier, and he caught it.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Eric Almirola's truck.
You can see the fluid running out of the back of it there. That's obviously from the radiator or oil cooler. So he needs to sit there. He doesn't need to drive off.
We're going to be inside of 10 laps to go, so we will have a single file restart. There will be no lap trucks on the inside when we restart this race.
There'll also be no Aaron's lucky dog. Oh, Joey Miller. Look at Joey's truck. It's damaged on the right front. I can't tell what precipitated that. Could you, Phil?
They probably got into a little bit more trouble coming off for turn number 4. Let's see if we can go back a little ways. There's a 75 right there of Eric Almirola. He gets loose coming off the corner.
Oh, and Joey was just a victim.
Joey was just a victim right there, but Eric's going to make some hard contact with the inside wall.
A lot of damage to the front end of the 75, the Spears Manufacturing 75 Chevrolet.
Can you imagine how many dollars worth of damage the end of that wall has caused over the years here at Bristol?
Well, a lot of damage here at Bristol tonight. Ray.
Hey, let's take a look at the tire that just came off Jack Sprague's Conway Toyota. You'll notice right here on the inside there's a melt on this bead, and that's whenever it came apart and then cut this line right up through the side here. Now this is the inside of the tire, but once the air goes down, again, the lucky thing was on the inside there, you'll see we did have an inner liner on the right side tires here. That saved Sprague from really getting torn up, but it was a melted bead that put him in the fence.
You know, that's
Bobby D.
Ray, we are in the Volunteer State, and so far this year, 2 Craftsman Truck Series races in Tennessee. They've both been won by a Toyota. Right now we have Toyotas, and you guys mentioned 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons, does that spell trouble for Mark Martin in the Ford?
No, I don't think so. I think Mark's got this baby in hand. He's fast. He does have to survive a restart. Todd will get on him on this restart. So
we've seen that before.
We saw that recently.
Ask Skinner. Ask Skinner what Todd will do on a restart. Krista, what's happening in the pit?
We want to make an ad on Johnny Benson. You know, Johnny Benson got his first win at Michigan, his home track. Today he's got Exide batteries on the truck. This is their home track. In fact, their factory, their plant, just right across the street. Johnny said he went over there and visited. It's the craziest thing. They have rooms that are just filled with car and truck batteries. He said as far as the eyes could see, just a bunch of batteries sitting on chargers. He said it was amazing. But he did say it would be really cool to give Exide batteries a win at their home track. And I thought, hey, you know what? If their plant's right across the street, don't you think they could probably make a mint on parking for fans?
They're parked everywhere here, Rick.
And not just across the track. I mean, 5 miles, 10 miles from here, there's people that are bussed in. They walk 2 to 3 miles away from the track on the highway coming into this racetrack.
Big problem for Johnny right now. What a great crowd we had here at Bristol on a Wednesday night.
Wednesday night,
and just people, just thousands and thousands of people turn up. But Johnny Benson right now is 2 spots behind Todd Bodine. He's the guy. He's trying to catch in the points.
That just shows you that's Todd Bodine's year. He's been right there every week.
And Todd Bodine is going to have to falter if someone is going to take the championship away from him. We look at our points as they stand right now.
He just opened up the gap a little bit more over Johnny. Rudiman's kind of falling back to where he's going to need a lot of help if he can get there. But just think how interesting this is, Phil. If you take Todd out of the equation, there's only about 150 points all the way down to 7th or 8th. So there's a lot of guys in that 2nd to 10th position that can change.
Yeah, and let's don't give this thing to Todd Bodine yet. If he has trouble in any one race, you can lose 135 points in one race. It's not over yet.
And remember, this is just one of the 2 racetracks that people have talked about being pivotal. Talladega still is coming, and that could be very big for our points championship. Let's recap where we have been today. Lap 2, Kerry Earnhardt with problems. You see everything coming out from underneath of that truck.
There's a 50 of David Reagan on lap number 28. He gets turned around here coming off turn number 4.
Ryan Moore exiting turn number 4, gets a hit from Joey Miller and spins out.
Take a look back at lap number 87. That's the 9 right there of Ted Musgrave. He's following Ron Hornaday. Ron almost loses it. Looks like he lost it, and then he saved it.
These guys have made some amazing saves tonight. This wasn't a save, but it's amazing. He missed the end of that pit wall. Not very many people are able to say they do that when they spin off turn 4.
Eric Almirola, 75, did not miss it here. This is lap number 149. Remember, Dennis Setzer tries to go by Chad McCumbee on the inside, cuts down his left rear tire.
Dennis Setzer did go by Chad McCumbee. It didn't work out so good for Chad, though.
Most recent caution coming out for Eric Almirola as he got turned around and into the inside wall going into turn number 1. Well, we're getting inside of 3 laps of racing to go, and that means that we will have a green-white checker finish. Ray Dunlap.
Well, when we look back at this year, guys, we've had 7 of those already, believe it or not. And guess what? At Daytona, who do you think it was? Well, it was Mark Martin and Todd Bodine. How about California? Mark Martin and Todd Bodine. How about Atlanta? It was Todd Bodine and Mark Martin.
This is actually the legitimate restart. This is not a green-white checker attempt here.
But if he makes it back one time, the race is history. It looks like he's going to do a pretty good job of pulling that off.
Kyle Busch jumped to the outside. He's on the outside of Mike Skinner. But meanwhile, Mark Martin.
Mark Martin comes out of turn number 4. White flag. A half a mile to go for Mark Martin. Looking for his 4th win of 2006. Problems in turn 3 and 4. The caution has not come out. They're going to continue to race. As the truck almost comes back up on the racetrack, it will be Mark Martin claiming victory in Bristol.
Checkered flag right there. You got it, buddy.
Boy, Mark went high down there in 3 and 4, and I thought maybe it might open the door for Tom Bodine, but meanwhile, went number 4, Rick.
I'm going to throw
got 4th win for Mark Martin in the 2006 season. He came in here with an average finish of 3.4 in the races that he's run in. Well, he's increasing that average.
What I love about this truck series, Phil, we saw Mark Martin dominate tonight. He won by about a half a truck length. He slipped up in turn 4 just a little bit, and Todd Bodine about took the victory away from him.
There to pounce was Todd Bodine. A good points night for Bodine.
The top 5 in this race all pitted back on lap number 30, and then all the guys that pitted on 66, they were back behind there. Kyle Busch got back to 6th, and he pitted way back on lap number 128. Pitting on lap number 66 wasn't the way to do it.
That didn't work, and we found out the clear-cut winner tonight came from that group that pitted on lap 30. It's always seems like a wild card always gets thrown in there somewhere, but tonight it was obvious. Pitting early was the answer.
Pit strategy plays into the win for Mark Martin. He has now won in every series on this racetrack. Cut, Busch, and truck tonight. The Miracle Grow team celebrating in victory lane.
Easy, that was a heck of a ride you had today.
Yeah, it's all these guys right here. The Scott's F-150 was just spectacular, and you know, I'm just really lucky to be able to drive this thing, and really want to thank Jack Roush and and this whole team. It's fun to drive this stuff. And, you know, this place has not been very kind to me lately. And, you know, Mike Beam just had a good strategy and the best truck here. And I knew it was awesome in practice, and I've been looking forward to it all day.
We had a pretty rock-hard tire here, but did you think lap 30 was too early to pit?
I did, but at lap 100, I knew it wasn't because the tires, I swear, well, we never raced anyway. It seemed like we were under caution every other lap. But, you know, there at the end, I don't know how much faster new tires would have really been. I mean, it was pretty fast. I guess they would have been faster, but that thing would roll, man. I mean, it was just hooked up.
Absolutely fun to see a smile like that. Mark Martin back in victory lane here, and this has got to set